Hello everyone, my name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about A&P written by John Updike. Now, before I go into summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. In this story, we meet a character by the name of Sammy. Sammy's working at a grocery store by the name of A&P. And A&P was an actual grocery store within the United States. It was a chain, and it went out of business in 2015. It started around, the existence of the company started around in the 1850s, and it shut down completely in 2015 because it pretty much couldn't keep with the times and the way in which that other supermarkets have modernized. In this, I'm gonna come back to that. That actually has a lot to do with this short story, or at least in my perspective, I think it has a lot to do with this short story. So in the short story, what basically happens is that Sammy is doing the mundane task of, he's working at the cash register in the supermarket. And as you would imagine, a job like working at a cash register, it's pretty monotonous. You're doing the same thing over and over again. You're taking people's items, scanning them, telling them how much they need to pay, maybe doing some bagging, and especially in the in the past, you're probably doing some bagging and giving them their food, their receipt, and that's it. You're doing that on repeat for however long you're working for the day, and it's a monotonous job. People behave quite similarly. People are coming in and out all day long with their carts, taking food off the shelf, putting in their carts, paying, leaving, bagging, paying, pricing, scanning, leaving, bagging. It's the same thing. A supermarket for me is kind of like an ant colony. It's kind of like you're probably doing the same things over and over again, and there's like a sort of rhythm, and like any supermarket that you go into, it always sounds like the rolling of carts, the smashing of carts, the small hint of chatter, maybe some music in the background, people, meticulously picking out their food, thinking about their food or what they want to eat, families bickering sometimes about selections of different types of food. It's all similar. I feel like, whenever you go into a supermarket to do a lot of shopping, you see the same things, you feel the same experiences. It's all the same. So, I feel like if you work at a supermarket, every day might just jumble into one another, and it might just seem all similar. And that's what Sammy has. That's what he's 19 years old, and that's his life. That's his job. That's what he does every day, all day. And there's a shock that happens, and keep in mind that A&P, that chain no longer exists. The way that it does things is probably very old. So this 19-year-old is working at this store. He's living in a time in America where religion was much heavier, and what I mean by that, people took it seriously. I feel like nowadays it's kind of like laxed, but his manager, Sammy's manager Lango, he's very strict, rigid. He's giving Sammy a chance by having this job. He knows that Sammy is not entirely independent. He's relying on his parents, and so he's giving him this job to kind of like help out. And he knows that if he doesn't have this job, life will be tough for him. So Sammy's doing this because he has to, and that's not exciting work. There's no excitement in it. And what really just turns this all around is that one day, during the summer, some like three girls come into this place. They're around Sammy's age, and they come in wearing two-piece bathing suits. These are three girls. He's like, it's like, I mean, it's something he's never seen before. I mean, you've seen people in bathing suits at the beach. You've seen women in bathing suits at the beach, but at the beach that's normal, and at the beach everybody's everybody's trying to have fun or sit by the beach or read a book or play in the water and this and that and the fourth. Um, in a supermarket, and plus he actually even mentions within the short story, because Sammy is our narrator. He's our first person narrator. He's like saying, like, when you're at the beach, there might be a glare. The sun is probably in your eyes, so you might not see, people's entire bodies, or I guess the details of their bodies. And him, when you're in the supermarket, I mean, supermarkets usually have a lot of lighting. They're usually very bright, especially in the aisles. You can see everything in a supermarket. Usually supermarkets don't even have windows. So you need to have a lot of lighting in a supermarket for people, because there's no windows. I mean, if they turn off the lights in the supermarket, it would be pitch black, like pitch black. Because think about it, the aisles block in light. The aisles would block light. There's no windows. There's no light. It's just the light within the store. So if the lights were to be turned off in the supermarket, you would be in pitch black darkness. So you can see these girls, everybody in the supermarket, they're kind of like thrown back, because they're like, well, there's three girls walking in bathing suits, and this is not appropriate. And again, think about this community. It's a community that probably has a lot of Christians. We know the manager there is a Christian, is a Sunday school teacher. So Lango, he's like, he has a tight grip. So it's something that's unusual, something that's happening that usually doesn't happen. Wait, let's wait 1 second. Let's wait 1 second. I need you guys to hear me real quick. 1 minute. Wait, just wait. That's a lot of noise. Okay, let's get back to this. So basically, it's something that's happening that you don't expect. Something that's happening that usually doesn't happen. And these girls are walking throughout the aisles, and Sammy's he's like a hawk. He's keeping an eye on them. He's keeping an eye on their bodies, and he's going into so much detail. Like, Sammy's telling us how they're walking, how their bodies are positioned, the shape of their bodies. He tells us who the queen is, and he ends up calling the leader of the pack of these three girls Queenie. And they're all they don't have purses, they don't have leather clothes, they're just wearing their bathing suits. And they come up to Sammy's counter, and they're purchasing something, and Sammy is so happy. And the Queenie, the leader of the pack, she pulls out her money from her bra or her top, and he hands it over to Sammy. And he takes time to kind of uncripple the bill. And I mean, Sammy's kind of weird, because I'm like, it doesn't, you're doing too much. You're doing too much, bro. And he's just obsessed with these girls, and there's definitely lust there. There's definitely, he's drawn to them. It's something that breaks him from his chain of monotony, of seeing, everything that he sees on a regular basis in these stores. And then, his boss comes in, Lango comes in and breaks the fun, because he's like, well, ladies, you can't be dressed like this. They're like, well, we went to the beach. And he's like, no, this is not the beach. And Lango's like, you can purchase this time, but, next time I'm not going to allow this. You need to cover your shoulders. You need to cover your bodies when you come into the store. And Sammy's kind of mad. He's not really happy about this information, because, he's seeing these girls in their bathing suits. He's completely fine with it. And then, because of this interaction and Lango confronting these women, these girls, Sammy quits his job for no reason. And he knows he needs the money. He knows he needs the income. He quits his job. He runs outside after the girls, after they've purchased their thing and left. And they're gone, because they weren't trying to help him out or trying to wait for him. They didn't even have any words with him. They just came in to buy something, and they had to encounter with this, this boss of Sammy's. They don't know Sammy's. They have nothing to do with Sammy. They're just buying something. And he, in his mind, he's like, these are my girls. I need to be with them. I need to go free with them. I need to be my own man. And he quits, loses his job, and yeah, and Lango pretty much slides into his position and keeps ringing in people's items, and sailing. And now Sammy's out of a job. He doesn't get the girls, and he's heading towards the unemployment line. I mean, like, I guess he was trying to prove something to his boss, or stand up for himself as a man, and be independent. But I mean, making stupid decisions doesn't make you a man or independent. It just makes you stupid. I mean, he just lost his job just because he saw a few girls in bikinis. I mean, that is no. I mean, he didn't. If he asked out one of the girls, if he asked for their numbers, if he asked to hang out with them, they don't know him. He doesn't know them, and he quits his job for them and then he goes outside looking for them. Like, I don't know. They don't know him. I mean, they weren't going to, like, I don't know, drive into the sunset with him just because he rang their food. I don't, like, I mean, 19-year-olds, I guess. Sammy loses his job. Then he realizes at the end of the story that, well, now I'm out of a job and life is going to be tough. Well, of course life is going to be tough. You just quit your job. You don't have an income coming in. Of course life is going to be tough, Sammy. You just think about the consequences of your actions. And Sammy didn't. He didn't think that chasing after these girls, chasing after lust was going to cost him his job, and the consequences of losing his job is no money. And now I guess he goes back to crying to his parents that he lost his job. So that's what happens in the story. In terms of a deeper meaning, in terms of an analysis, I mean, this is a very interesting piece. I think this is this is from the first person perspective, a first person narrator. Sammy's our narrator. We're looking at things through his mind. There's a lot to pick up on. I think that first and foremost, you have to look at the consequences of actions. I think these girls came in with the bathing suits and they thought it was going to be all right and that it wouldn't matter. But, they caused a stir in the supermarket. The people who were shopping, they were uncomfortable having these girls walk around with their bathing suits. It was something strange. Like, even if today, I mean, we're in the 21st century, if someone walks into a supermarket with a bathing suit, I mean, I don't think most people might not confront them, but it's going to be weird and they're going to get looks and, the snickers and people are going to look at them strange. Because even though it's not against any law, it's still, well, at least I think it's not against, I don't think that's public indecency. I mean, if you can wear bathing suits at the beach, I don't think, but in this story, it disrupted people. The manager wasn't okay with it. I mean, Sammy thought he had a connection with these girls for some reason. And, they all got consequences. The girls got a warning, and Sammy lost his job. Well, he quit his job, so I guess he's going to have to live with the consequences of quitting his job. And even the manager, even Lango, had to pay some consequences because he had to, confront these girls, and this triggered Sammy's, Sammy quitting. And at the end, Lango's kind of left to doing Sammy's job, which pretty much he probably doesn't like doing because, I mean, he's a manager. He probably doesn't want to man the register. He wants to manage. So, and Sammy even tells us when he looks back at the store's window and sees his boss, checking people's stuff, he doesn't look happy. He looks kind of unfulfilled, and it's just not a happy sight to see. The other thing I would like to mention is kind of like the kind of machine-like behavior of human beings. I mean, everybody goes to the supermarket. Well, everybody goes to the supermarket and everybody shops, but you never think about the sort of machine-like behavior. I mean, if you look at human beings while they're shopping, it kind of looks like a machine. People, picking up stuff, arranging stuff, packing stuff. Yeah, because most supermarkets, you have people arranging and stocking while people are shopping. So you see there's groups of people buying and purchasing and taking, and groups of people stacking as fast as they can. And there's a kind of like a monotony to it, a kind of like stream-like, kind of like process and churning to shopping. And it seems so mechanical and unhuman. And the last thing, like one thing that Sammy said, he says like, well, there goes Lango processing, like, or helping the sheep move through the line. And I'm paraphrasing, but it's kind of like a line like that, which kind of makes you look at human beings like these sheep, or these beings that are just mindless things, purchasing more food and continuing with their lives. Like, well, this is what we got to do. So, yeah, it's an interesting short story. I guess it throws a wrench in the mechanics of what we're used to. And I mean, as human beings, we like to think that we're spontaneous and we like to do things out of order, but we love order. We love systems. We love organization. And that might make us mechanical, but that's what we are as human beings. We like things to be done in a process. That's why governments, factories, everything that we live by is all about process and, a logical order of things. Like, time is something that human beings created. We created time. Like, I don't know, there's no God that came out of the sky and gave us a clock. I mean, gods have their own, or see time their own way. Human beings, we created our own concept of time. We made it orderly. Supermarkets are built the same way. Our number system, our letter systems, everything is built in a logical, one after the other way. It's mechanical, and I mean, when things go out of order, bad things happen. And Sammy stepped out of line, and he paid the price for it. But yeah, that's my perspective. That's what I saw within this work. There's always more to the story, but I think that will give you guys an idea of what to expect and what the story is about. Yeah, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.